Hey, what is effective communication? Or what do we think effective communication is? Understanding yourself, controlling the message in the environment. So that's our side. The player management side, communication, how to control your environment again, your body language and your captain management. Okay. Rightio, so an important skill that we don't think about but we use every day, you know, at work, at home, etc. What are some of those skills that we'll get? So, Hugh, you were going to be my scribe, mate. So what are some of the skills that we use every day?
Listening.
Listening?
Sometimes.
Communicating.
Just slowly fire them up there to Hugh.
Communication skill.
Delegating.
So just as a communication skill, how do you feel delegating is coming into that?
Into the game,
Mm-hmm.
where you're asking perhaps groups of players to be responsible for aspects of the game, like your front row, you know, you want them to sort of look after your scrum, so to speak.
So passing it on
Yeah.
and don't take it all on board, yeah?
Just saying like key factors, so you don't really like in the pre-talk and stuff like that, you don't want to be having them stand around for ages, just get what you want out and then let them move on.
So key points and not
Yeah.
overload?
Yeah. And during the game too, because they probably won't be listening.
Very all clear and concise.
Good.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Is it the same in the 50th minute of the game? Is your communication the same?
Yeah.
We would hope it is.
Tone.
We-
Oh, with
hey?
James,
Tone.
Tone.
Consistent. No, with jazz you got to turn your ears down.
Gets louder.
So do you actually, after a game, think about how you did communicate? Or is the game over and done with? You know, if there were issues in the game, if you felt that you didn't get the response from the teams that you wanted, do you ever have a thought that maybe it might have been how you communicated it? Is that a yes or a no?
Yes.
Yeah, you do? Cool. Do you try and up that ante next time? Or, once again, do you forget about that and go to the next game and just replay the same Groundhog Day?
No. Every game's different anyway, Greg.
Correct, yeah, yeah. But then your communication skills, hopefully, shouldn't alter too much. If you're good at it, it doesn't matter what type of game you're doing, you're getting that message across.
Timing. Like timing of communication.
Timing, yep.
When to not communicate.
And maybe like adapting to who you're communicating to.
Cool.
Like because there's some players that may not understand a lot of English or something like that, so trying to adapt to communicate to them.
Yep. And we find that a lot here with a lot of PIs, a lot of people coming in from outside the areas for you know, fruit pickers and stuff like that. And we are finding, it used to be based sort of around one club or two clubs, and now it's a lot of clubs have these people in, and so yeah, the communication is an issue. Finding a good captain that can relate to it and be your go-to, that's what we need, eh?
Using appropriate language
Yep.
for the age group you're talking to.
Yep. Cool. So who here reckons that they are quite a good, well, no, let's go this way. Who reckons they're an average communicator? Who reckons they're above average and good communicator? So who reckons they're pretty good with that, at their communication? Yowie?
Yep.
Cool. Awesome. Beauty. And Scotty, well done. Who thinks that they are a good listener at the other people's communication. So they listen to what the captains are saying or the players are saying. He thinks that they take that on board and they're pretty good at listening.
Yeah,
Inappropriate.
you have to be.
Cool. Okay, so with that, we'll get Chris. You're a good listener. Come on up. Okay. So over there at the board. And Yowie, you reckon you're a good communicator? Come on up. No, come on up. Okay.
You're just picking on me.
Okay. So you're getting 2 minutes. Chris, you're at the board.
Yeah.
Yowie, you're going to describe to him how to draw that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? So I'll give you time to look at it, Yowie, and have a quick think. Okay, so
To your left, I want you to draw an arrow with a right hand bend in it, going upwards and to the right. Right. Can you rub that out? The arrow starts at the bottom heading upwards
Oh, yeah.
to the right.
The right like that.
You can make it a big one if you want.
And I go
Yeah,
right.
make an arrow, yeah, make a point on it. And then from there I want a hexagonal, I think it's a octagonal, 1, 2, 3, octagonal,
How many sides is there?
8.
8.
Oh, how many?
With a triangle on top.
We'll try it anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Triangle on top. And a bolt of lightning coming off the left hand side, off the right hand side,
Bolt of lightning.
off the octagonal.
Does-
Where your octagonal thing is, yeah, come to the middle of it. Okay. Rub that out.
Bolt of lightning.
A bolt of lightning shooting down towards the earth from
That
the
way.
middle point on the right hand side. The middle point of the octagonal.
Oh, yeah.
On the edge, there.
Going
Bolt of
up.
lightning going to the ground. To the ground.
Oh, that's just a bullet. Yeah.
Well, that's about as best as you're gonna get it. With a 14 in the middle of the octagon, just right 14. Is that good enough, Groove?
right,
How long
see
do I
what.
get?
Oh, you got far too long.
Not that, but not that.
Right. So
10 sides.
you saw you saw the first part there where Chris was drawing the arrow, and Yowie went back, brought him back in line, and said, "Start again. We'll go from the bottom up, turn to your right, put the point on." So they were nice and precise. As soon as he saw that things weren't going right, brought him back to the start, nice and precise. The hexagon, or what is it, 1, 2, 3?
It's got 10 sides.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, that was
Harder.
wasn't it, Chris?
Yeah. The arrow on top, the triangle on top, pretty good, and bolt of lightning, you know, well, yeah, that's pretty good. So in general, wasn't too bad, was it? In general. But it just shows using the right terms, and even, you know, just saying the left or the right, from the centre, one point there where Yowie was saying from the centre do your lightning bolt, and Chris went back to here to look at doing it, just so clarifying what you're wanting to say to them and not assuming what you're portraying. Just assuming what you're portraying is what they're understanding. Okay. Pretty simple, isn't it? So there's a couple of key elements in communication there. Self-awareness. So what's that? Just quickly, self-awareness is what?
Being aware of yourself.
Yep, it is. No, John, you're pretty good. Understanding yourself. And our part is managing yourself. Okay? situational awareness is what?
Where you are in the field, what the time of the game is,
Yep. And
what the score
basically
is.
taking control of the situation. So it might not be the physical aspect of it, but it's the whole group of it, the control and delivery of how, when and why you're making that decision or wanting to get that point across. You know. So with self-awareness, so have you ever tried delivering a message when you are sad or angry? Let's put it out. Tired or just totally peeved off at the type of game you were refereeing. Okay? So when you're feeling like that, how is the message that you're going to get across to the players? Yep. You're pissed off, you're frustrated, you're short, your tone, everything like that, eh? You know, and it just automatically comes in. So the same message can be delivered differently, can't it? You know, if we put that smiley face on, if we think, you know, we can get over this, it'd be more receptive from the players and the captains if we're like that. If they see us, that we are down or angry or annoyed, we're on the same plateau as them, aren't we? Important to be self-aware of your current state so that you can change this to be effective at communicating. So, and this is nothing against redheads, all right? They just chose these colours. Okay, so we want to change from a redhead to a bluehead, meaning heat situations. Red is hot and short, sharp, etc. Blue is a cooler, calmer. So that's the only way why they're using the colours. Okay. Right.
Does it mean don't be a dicky?
Yeah. Well, there we go. So we've got now blue heads. So loose, expressive, in the moment, calm and clear, accurate and on task. And I apologise, that is red, it's the colours of this coming up there. Desperate, result orientated, anxious, aggressive, overcompensating. Okay. So have a think about your games. If you've got a game that is pretty tight, are you going to be are you a blue head or a red head? So I can't answer that, we can't answer that. This is for you to have a think to yourselves, you know, where are you in that? What would we all like to be? Blue heads, eh? Yep. So, you know, we've got to think of those triggers that when we feel we are in that red head area, that we need to bring it on back and get us back in that blue head. So as a redhead, what things annoy you in life? How do you feel and respond? So these are pretty broad because what affects us outside of the 80 minutes on the field can affect us what's on the field. What we do outside of the 80 minutes to bring us back in line, maybe some of those things we can do on the field to bring us back in line as well, to cool us down. What things frustrate you in the game of rugby and how do you feel and respond? So what's the most common thing that frustrates you? Just give us a question, an answer out there. What frustrates you most when you're refereeing?
Someone that's not kept in and only here the whole time.
Yep, okay, cool.
Negative teams.
Repeated dumb penalties.
Repeated dumb penalties, yep. And sorry, the other one was?
Negative teams.
Negative teams, yep. So some of those we can't really change because it's somebody else's attitude and we've got a rule on it. So what if you've made a big mistake on the field, awarding a try, you missed a clear knock on, are you embarrassed and start having self-doubt, fears, nerves or worries? Take the actual incident away there. We all know that at times on the field there we do make a wrong decision. It escalates more obvious if points were awarded out of it. how quick are you to pick yourself up again, basically get over it, and carry on with the game? You know? You think that you are good at that? Once again, a lot of these aren't, we haven't got the answers, it's a reflective on yourself, on your own abilities. So yeah, you know, you've got a lot of the game left. You can't live in the past. You know you've made that muck up, but you've got to move on for the better of A, yourself, B, the game. So how do you move from the red to the blue? Has anybody got any ways that they know that when they are down or not having a good game to get them out of that and get them more positive and confident?
Well, I find at the start of the game, if you know you're going into it and you know you're a bit shit, just like get a few calls under your belt quick. Like, you know, just basic scrums that you could play an advantage for, you could just communicate it, get a few calls in, so at least you're moving, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to just letting it go and just feeling like everything's going everywhere. That's personally.
So bringing some structure to it.
Yeah, get some structure for yourself, so you can go, right, I'm here, then I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do this.
Yep.
But that might not work for everyone.
Anybody else got any?
Probably towards the end of the game, when the game starts to turn a bit hectic for the last 20 minutes, you've got to work a whole lot harder on your fitness and make that effort to get that extra 2 metres closer to the line.
Some of these guys at Premier, when I've been ARing, they know they have these little quiet spells or lulls, and Marty's been one I know of that has said, when you see me doing that, give me a rev up. So that's fine if you've got the ARs, etc. They see you dropping your standards a bit and give you a bit of a reminder and pick you up. But when we're out there by ourselves, you know, we've got to think of these triggers because we do know we're doing it. So it's another thing to try and bring into your game.
I tend to lift my level of communication, Groube.
Mm-hmm.
So if I feel like something's getting away on me, I engage basically at the situation and I really clearly call it. And it could be anything from tackle rolling away to take a step back, just the things that are trigger points that,
Yep.
so that you can take control, but also that the players hopefully can see that you're trying to give them a little bit of, give them the opportunity to actually to not infringe, would be a dickhead about something.
Just one thing, Groube, I think we're all human and we're all going to spend parts of the game in the red. That's just a fact. But I think one thing that sort of we talked about at the weekend at our national camp, and it's something I've been doing for a few years now, is understanding yourself and who you are as a person and as a referee. And the more you can understand yourself as a person and who you are as a referee, the less time you'll spend in the red zone. So if you get better at that and doing things outside of rugby, the less time you spend in the red and the more time you're in the blue, the easier it's going to be for yourself. So, you know, that might be a little bit of homework for some people, is understand who you actually are as a person and who you want to be as a referee, and what strengths and weakness do you have, so that when you are in the red you can recognise it and you've got a trigger or something that can just get you out of it.
That's the key to it, what Dan's saying, having that trigger. And it can generally be the same trigger for different aspects of when you think you're in the red or when you're in that lull or something's going wrong, just having a trigger. Yeah. So you seek to stay in the blue head, use cues, so you're basically coming up with exactly what we've been talking about. So you people subconsciously do understand, you do have these issues is not the right word, but they do happen to us all. So having those cues, so using a physical mental trigger, talking to yourself, giving yourself a bit of a rack up get yourself out of it. So getting to the blue space means you have a clear and calm mind to deliver your message. So situational awareness, understanding the environment before delivering the message. So what's the issue that needs to be addressed? So understanding, be confident in what you're having a chat to the teams about. Okay? Don't be wishy-washy about it, be confident and be precise on the issue. That's a good one. Who needs to hear the message? So there are times possibly when a whole forward pack or even the whole team needs to hear the message. If you find you're fighting against good communication with the captain or the leaders, remember a couple of training nights ago we looked at the main people in the team that we focus on. You know, so if you're not getting good response from those people, maybe you do need to let the whole team know what the issue is. What's my currency like?
Who knows what
Are you a euro?
You know what I mean?
You know what it means?
Yeah.
Okay, Hugh, over to you.
Basically, it's how much is the person I want to talk to going to listen to my message? Have I just penalised this team and do I need to talk to them versus have I just awarded them a penalty and can I deliver that message to them now? So let's say you've had an issue around breakdown, you've just penalised them, then he's probably not going to want to hear it too much versus if you give a penalty to him where that team's done the exact same thing, you go, look, that's what I have been penalising you for, they've just done the same thing, that's why you've got the penalty now. He's more likely to listen to it then than when he's pissed off you've just penalised him or they've just had a try scored against them. That's what they talk about. What's my currency?
Cool.
Could that be even like sort of at the next line out or something?
Yeah.
And you just sort of go over to him and say,
Yeah.
that's why you got penalised?
Yeah, big time. Yeah.
Do you find, because who was it, someone came and said that like a couple of years ago or something?
Yes.
One of the main,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think it was Mike Fraser.
Yeah, and he brought up something also about like when that player's coming at you and you've just given a try, which might seem a bit dubious, but it's a try, and then he comes up chirping up at you, and the idea that Mike Fraser was, he brought up was to say, not now.
Yeah.
They're going to be fucking pissed off for you to say, not now, and walk off. And I found out a couple of times, like, oh, you know, this guy knows what he's doing, I'll listen to that. You do it, and then you just get even more chirp, and then your currency's never good. Do you find, what would you personally
I've definitely used not now quite a few times. More so when they've just been penalised, you know the other team's trying to play quickly, and he wants to slow down play. That's when I'll use it mainly. So I know they're trying to go quick. He's trying to talk to me. I'll just go, not now. I'll talk to you at the next stoppage. And literally, you turn around and walk away. You don't give him that chance to chirp at you.
Right. Okay.
You literally turn around and go.
Fish out.
But the important thing with that view too is to talk to them.
Yep. Yeah, you have to. Otherwise, you do lose all that credibility, basically.
The other bit of that too, like you do that before the game, like you talk to the captain, you say,
You say, if it's
Yeah.
not the time, I'm not.
you say if it, at a penalty, come to me to line out, and if I say not now, then I'll come back to you, and then if you just hear that in the game and the rest says not now, then you're probably going to be a little
Yeah, I'll be right.
pissed,
Okay.
but
You got to do it.
you hear it at the start,
That is
you've
part of
agreed
my
on it,
pre-game chat.
Right. Okay.
Should be.
chuck it in there.
So what is the outcome and change you're looking for? So before you deliver the message, you've got to know what you're going to accept as a result. Okay. So just be aware of that and have that in mind. And how will you know the message is understood and accepted?
Ask that question right then.
So that's true. Don't just tell and walk away. Get the response back from the captain or the player that you've chatted to. You want to skip the gun here, currency. Understanding communication is like currency or money in the bank. Well, I don't have any currency. Every time you speak, you're making a withdrawal, and every time it's effective, you're making a deposit. So, yeah, sort of thinking of that, we've made quite a few withdrawals in a game. It's nice to hopefully see that we're getting as many deposits. Sometimes it doesn't happen. If you've got a negative team, you'll have more withdrawals than deposits, won't you?
Very big bank overdraft.
Exactly. So, yeah, just basically what I said. If it isn't effective, you'll soon have no more currency in the bank or with the players. So respect the players. They won't know. Once you get to a certain stage, no matter what you say to the players, they're not going to listen. So basically, it's game over.
It's a big argument for being concise and to the point, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because the more you talk, the less likely it is that it's all going to be white noise after a while. So when you do talk and you make it worthwhile, it's going to be a hell of a lot more effective than you yapping all the way through the game. So my advice would be to try and keep it as brief as possible and only talk when you have to.
Yep. So that's pointing out a few of the things there. So your timing, and then I think Cara said, short to the point, type of thing, yeah.
And the other thing is like, sort of going off what you're saying is, when you know the communication decks, you're going to have an impact on what they're doing.
Yes.
So like, there's no point calling ruck every ruck, because there's that one ruck that you really want them to not touch, and then you call ruck and it's just ruck again, you know? But if you didn't call ruck for the first three, and then you call ruck, then they know, I better get my hands out.
Yeah.
So it's about kind of not over communicating, like roll away or ruck and those kind of ones, and just saving it almost for the really important ones, and then you'll get that, they'll get the message and you'll get the outcome.
And sometimes what I see is referees do that for their own benefit rather than for the benefit of the players.
Yeah.
It's that self-confirmation type thing, and to be honest, it's mucking it up for the players in a lot of ways.
Because you do, like, as a player, you just stop listening to the ref
Yeah.
that's going on all
Right.
the times. But,
Do you talk about jargon or anything in your grouping?
You want to park it?
Okay.
Want to roll up there?
No.
Oh, you remember? You remember? So, what is my currency like? Identify the issue, what needs to change, consequence of no change, and do you understand? That's what we're delivering. And, of course, then who needs to hear it? We won't do any role plays there, because I think that out on the field is when we need to do that. So. But it's just a thing, we can have a think about here. Blue, number 3, has caused a scrum to collapse 3 times, and you want to put the player on a warning. So what do you do, and what do you say? Who wants to stand up and give me what they would say in that situation? Who do we have hiding down the back there? Nico?
So all you do is just pull the play out of a scrum, so he's focused on himself, and you explain what he's doing wrong, you say you need to get positive, and are you a bind or whatever. If you don't do that, we'll take actions to correct your step, do what you're doing.
Anybody got anything to add that they want to add? What do you think? That's enough. A, was it to the point, what Nico said? Yeah. Was it short enough? Without burbling on? Cool. And did he speak to the right personnel?
I think the only thing maybe to add is, like, if there's 3, then you can, if you give what those are, then that, like, look, I've had 2 penalties against you, and we've just had it now, like, then it gives a bit of, like, I don't know what it is.
I think just being really clear on what you need him to do. So if you know it's collapsed because he's been shoulders below hips, or if he's been too far apart and he's slipped and gone down, just be really specific in what you're asking him to do. So you've gone down 3 times now because you've slipped, I need you to come closer. You've gone down 3 times now because you've lost your bind. If you don't keep that bind up, you're going to be pinged, or we'll find someone else basically. Just be real specific about what you need him to do.
That old line.
Do you find like when you go through that whole kind of thing, to identify wanting to change consequence, if you get to the point where you're talking yellow, red cards potentially further, it was a while, I don't know who mentioned it, someone said about backing yourself into a corner. You don't want to say next one's a yellow and then the next one's not actually that bad, but everyone's like, oh, but you said yellow, you know. How far does, because I find my line always comes out, it's, oh, there's going to be further consequences, or something like that. But once they've heard, oh, I'm not getting a yellow, they've shut off. Do you feel that? How would you going to deal with that in that regard? Does that make sense?
Just
Yeah,
yellow.
Because well, you know, if you're getting pinged and you think, shit, I've got a yellow here, got a yellow, and then as soon as he says further consequences, you're thinking, ah, cool, split it, see you later. But I find that further consequences isn't getting that message across. I don't know how else I would.
I think that situational awareness comes into that too. So if you're delivering that message to him and you're saying next one's yellow, he's the only one who's heard that.
You think just pull him away and
yeah,
right,
Yeah.
okay.
instead of saying it in front of everyone, especially the opposition, you said next time it's yellow, so then you don't have that.
Right, so you don't, the back into the corner, just got a bit of control.
I
Right,
don't
Fisher?
use that, I just use, and this is your warning, that's all I say. I don't say yellow or red, I just say this is your
Right,
warning,
efficient.
and then it's,
I appreciate what you're saying there, because on my notes here, the example of this, what we've just had, is identifying the issue, blue number 3, collapsing too much. What needs to change? I need him to bring his feet up and have a stronger bind. Consequence, if he doesn't, I will yellow card. Do you understand? So that is putting them into that corner, isn't it?
Just however you word it, just always put it back on them. So always ask the question, do you understand? Or do you know what I mean? So you're putting it, so you take onus off yourself and you put it back to them.
Okay.
So as long as the onus goes back to them and they agree with you, then it's all on them. It doesn't matter what you've said, you put it back onto them. So next time you can just whip out the yellow card and go see you later.
I think the important thing there is that you're speaking to the specific player, so you can go to that step and say, the next time you offend, it will be a yellow card. So therefore, if anybody else in the front row does it, you haven't backed yourself into a corner with them.
You know, and what you're saying is right. When you get in a situation, say with multiple penalties in the red zone, 2 or 3, and by that time you've got to say, well, next one, something's going to change here, and one who's going to be in trouble. So you just don't want them to continue different players.
Yeah.
So there's not one specific player, but they're doing.
Yeah, and that's the thing when you got both captains, when you say it's been going on, and then you feel yourself say next one's yellow, and that's when it normally chirps up. But
But to be honest, in that scenario, I'd like to think we'd all intervene before it's got to 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably after the
After the
second
second
one,
one.
as the third scrum,
Well, I'd be
next
having a word
scrum's
after
going
the
down,
first.
you'll be having a word.
Okay, so I'm unsure whether these videos will work, so we will work our way through them. If not, we'll move on. So the points that we've already discussed. Don't need to have it on.
Oh, this will be good.
Oh, it's coming through your laptop, it's not even coming through.
It's typically Australian. You'll need to translate, mate.
he's
The trouble is, if he has a badge, and he has a real
Fortunately, we haven't got.
Just turn your volume up on. Can you turn it up on your computer or no?
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Anyway, mate, good. Travelling well.
Come to an end pretty well now. So. Middle of trip for week, but end of this week I'm here for about 6 or 7 weeks. So.
We didn't miss it.
Wow.
Never going to figure it out.
Did he get buy-in?
No, there's no point.
He did two real good things though.
Yeah.
So one, he pulled him away.
Mm.
He told, I think there was the other captain was about to come, he's like, Steve, I don't need you now. And then I felt it was good that he had his chat, he knew he was walking away, and he goes, mate, come back, and he finished his chat off, but yeah, it wasn't very
Didn't do much, yeah.
But that says more about Paramanara.
Yeah, it may have
He's gotta
changed his
step up.
behaviour though, you just don't know, do you? I mean, his attitude was piss poor, but his behaviour might have
Thank you very much.
changed. Well, he's going for a shower, isn't he?
That one says great comments.
Talk to the hand.
Could have been.
They did, explained it, gave them time to have a chat to the team.
Engaged.
Never talked about a consequence though.
Ooh.
No, it's been a game.
Nigel Walsh would have been running away.
Boys.
Touchy should be throwing some images.
It's been a year, mate.
Okay, so you guys probably can't hear that. So he's told them, you know, that you're the captain, you guys have to deal with it, there's going to be consequences. So he's talked to them both, and it's up to them to sort that.
I reckon you just could have taken a little bit more time. It's pretty much straight after it.
Hopefully when I get these online, we'll have the
How come he was only directly talking to the South African guy?
Because he was,
At the
they were
end.
the penalty that was against him.
He
But
started.
he's
Oh,
talking
against
to
him.
Argentina
Oh,
as
okay.
well for joining in.
Alright,
So always
That's a
penalise the guy
case if
that
we
started
probably
unless
could
it was
take
a
a couple
punch or
minutes
something.
to
So.
Yeah.
chat to his AR, just to calm things down before he went and talked to them.
So when I put when this one comes up online, these clips might be at the end of it, so I'll get them loaded so you can actually hear what's going on. So they might not be in that same in order. There we go. So summary is understanding yourself first. So can we quickly do a breakdown of what are we meaning by understanding ourselves first?
Identify the issue, we're really clear about what we're doing.
Yep.
Written word.
Yep, we're in the red or the blue, understanding the issue, being confident on what we're going to deliver, and also have an idea of what we want back. Okay. The ability to identify and get out of the red head thinking. Situational awareness. How well do we understand the environment and the message I'm about, or I am giving? So practice your communication. So get in front of a mirror, talk to yourself. Yowie does all the time. Geez, how many more greys have I got?
I plucked them out now, Groove.
You mustn't be at work much then. This only gets better through practice, so, yeah. It's, yeah, having your own triggers, you know, when we're out there, the penalties or the discussions we have with the teams, when you bring it all back, they're pretty well the same week after week after week, really. You know, there might be one less one week, but more next, but they're generally the same thing. So even develop your own. And develop, you know, your own vocabulary of what you're going to say.
That's Groube, I think that's very important. All referees should have a little, a book with some sayings in it that they use in certain situations. So you should probably have a dozen or maybe 15 that you just very short, sharp things that you know to use in a particular situation. And if you do practice them, it's automatic. When you need to use them, you don't have to stop and think. It's automatic what you're going to say.
You know that when you're in that red-headed area and something happens and you're trying to get it out and you're stumbling for words or can't quite get it out clear enough, you know, the players are probably looking at you thinking, you know, what's really going on here? So, yeah, there's probably not a silly thing as write down a couple of phrases that you might use in a certain situation.
Don't drop the standard either, Groube. So if you deal with your players with respect from start to the finish, so for full 80 minutes. So you don't change that stance. That's your personal position on the field.
Yep.
And hopefully you'll get the captains buying into that.
The other thing is too is, I know we've got up there, is always use the captain's name. Okay? You can always use the name, not just the number. You know, that builds that little bit of rapport that you've taken time to get to know who the captain is. How often in a game do the players refer to you by your name, or is it always sir or ref or
Mostly ref.
Sometimes worse.
mainly ref? Yeah. Or
Groube, I don't think knowing the player, sure at the top level is a little bit different, but I think you're showing respect by calling him the captain. So if you want to talk to him, you call Blue Captain.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I do it the opposite because I've made the effort to, you know, the grades that I'm in and out of, etc. The captains change. You know, I could have the same team in 3 weeks and they've got different captains, but you know, and I really make sure I get to know who that captain is or get the name of the captain. So, well, sometimes Josh captain or you know, Pete captain come out, whatever. But I find it personally a sign of respect that I've made that. But it's what you're comfortable with. Okay, player management. Player management will set you apart from the rest, but must have a robust technical and tactical foundation. It is impossible to reach people from a management sense if they don't trust your decision making. So, yeah, it's going all the way back to their probably consistency, our tone on, you know, if we've got a good tone in delivering, it instills a little bit of confidence in players as well as in us. So once you have player management skills, then personality is the rest of it. Some of you out there are a bit buggered for that, personality, but
Groube, something that's not up there that you just touched on before though, that's really important is your signals.
Yep.
If your signals are clear and immediate, they tell a story. They tell as big a story as your whistle. So that, I mean, your whistle and your signals really are your two biggest assets on the field.
yep. And that's, you know, your signals are not just for your players, eh?
No. And it comes down to also, like, it's my signal, but if you're clear on, you know, it's offside, 13 white, you stop, you don't have an open. Because they're like, oh, which player was it? You go, oh, I'm not quite sure it was one of them. But if you're clear on it, you don't get feedback.
Exactly. And it makes you confident, eh? Because you made that decision, it's clear cut. Okay, captain pre-match. Ask a question, so how can I help? Keep it a little bit dangerous, eh? That's buying into quite a bit of conversation. So, establishing on-field expectations. Well, I think our expectation is basically going to be the same as theirs. They want a good game, they want consistency. Okay. So we just want buy-in from that as well. So let's communicate, but no lengthy debates. Short, sharp. Yep. I want to talk to you. I want you to talk to me about trends in the game, not one-off decisions. Yeah. You know, I'll understand that. So if something's happening time and time again, that's when we get into a bit of the conversation about it. And by setting on-field expectations, you can easily refer back to them during the game.
Maybe that how can I help Groube is more the fact of what we spoke about the other week was what sort of game plan are they doing?
Yep.
They want an open, quick tap and go, or
So that will give us an idea on how we can
work with them.
yeah, change our positions or something like that to
That's when they say we've got really good line speed, so we're offside.
exactly. We still pretty much first time say we were pretty good, but just yeah.
Just a bit too soon.
So, and I will only deal with you as captain on field.
Pre-match.
And vice captain support is expected in dealing with problems. That's putting it back onto them. So repeat infringements, foul plays, motions are running high, non-compliance at scrum, tackle phases, line-out gaps, unnecessary talk on the field, positive reinforcement. Who does that? When a tackler goes down and they roll away, or a scrum is awesome, or something like that, yeah. Done a couple of times, good line kicks, you know, as I'm running, saying shit, that's pretty good. Adam, yeah, so, yeah, just a bit of positive reinforcement. Oh, there we go. But this is a personal thing, you know, Yowie was happy and feels that his respect to them is calling them captain.
No, you just can't remember
Yeah, well, I can't. Yeah.
Always captain.
Yeah. So whatever you feel comfortable with it, okay? When the ball is in play, use simple short instructions. Once again, yep, stuff that we've been chatting about right from the start. So bringing this all together is we're ticking off boxes that, you know, we put up there to start with. Yeah, provide short, concise decision, answer to players' queries. And if a player persists talking, use the captain to be quiet, tell them to be quiet. Don't debate. Okay. So yeah, the game's too short for us to get into debates. Yeah, just move on. That's the way I saw it. As referees, that's the way we referee it, and we shouldn't be guessing anything. Body language. So, as we're getting through the game, we're getting tired, we may be getting frustrated. That's when, you know, we've got our heads down, we're thinking that, you know, this is another infringement, another stoppage, another scrum's gone down. So our body language will flow on. You know, they stand up, they look at us, and if we're looking disheartened, you know, it's not going to do much for them. So you know, we need to lift ourselves. That's when we have those triggers. Lift ourselves, throw in the odd joke or quirky comment or something like that, and you'll be surprised in how that will probably change the attitude of that next scrum or whatever it is. Yeah, so we do display a lot through our body language. Referees in top echelons are officiating know that body language, in addition to player management, are central to effective referees. So you guys at national camp, do you get much into body language and so non-verbal communication? Or is it something they haven't put in yet?
Just with our own.
I think it's
Just so you know?
That's what
Poly-
Polly,
really.
that's what Polly draws into you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
not at national camp.
There's a steal, eh? The referee. Oh.
Players getting into his space.
He looks pretty calm though.
Football game.
So, what's the body language there? Okay. What is body language? So it's non-verbal communication of the body. You know, and this is stuff that we've learned over the years. So, all those little groups around there, we may have it all, we might have some. It'll, depending on the situation, on which ones we have or don't have. Weak versus strong, can you read that pretty well? There you go, the Superman, there's your lightning bolt on the right. Yeah, it's your posture and even your speed and ability to get around that field, that's part of your body language. Yep, it does. It governs what other people feel and think about you. And we can reverse that. We can see the body language of the captains we're trying to chat with. If you blow the whistle and call them over and they come slumping over, you know that you've lost it already, haven't you? You know, because their body language is showing it before they've even got to you. So just think what they're seeing of us out on the field.
If you look sharp though, Groovy, you're going to give
Yep.
a lot more buy-in as well. Our guy who's basically his boots are clean, or a referee whose boots are clean, socks are up, you're tucked in. If you look the part, these guys normally would say, you know, this is a serious referee. Set your standard.
How we get ourselves, it governs how we think and feel about ourselves. Yeah. What are some non-verbal interactions or opportunities we have as referees?
A smile.
A few minutes to sort out. We won't worry about that. No, we won't worry about these scenarios. Bodies change our minds change our behaviours, and our behaviour changes our outcomes. What was that last one? There we go, eh? So, let's summarise on all that we've been through here. So, well, it doesn't really start when you first enter the changing room. It starts with your own attitude before you get to the game, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know it's, you know, you hear, you know, don't take your work, your home life to work, etc. That is hard, but just think about, you know, this is your 40 minutes to forget about everything else that's out there. So it starts on your way to the game.